So why don't you tell everybody about your first ever Formula One circuit experience in
Story
2021
time with
Spa?
Jacob. Right, so essentially, 2021 obviously was the year of the not Belgian Grand Prix where it was cancelled. And guess who was there? This guy.
For his first ever race.
For my first ever proper Formula One race, I decided Belgium, Spa, one of the best tracks you could possibly go to. Why don't I make that the track that I go to? So I drove down from Denmark. I drove all the way through Germany. And I was planning on going to the Nürburgring on the way as well. So on the way to Spa, I'll go to the Nürburgring, I'll do a lap or two, and then head on to the Grand Prix weekend. So I get to the Nürburgring and I can't even drive because it's raining too much. So, and literally there was no other chance because of when I was planning on going to and from and the track time openings and stuff like that. I missed my only chance because it was raining. So I didn't get to go on the Nürburgring. Right, so I'm already annoyed. I'm already pissed off. So I then go down to Belgium. Right, I stay on the edge of the border between Germany and Belgium because of COVID guidelines. I could stay within Belgium, but only for less than 24 hours. So it was easier for me to stay in Germany. And then I had to get up and get to the track to get a negative COVID test to enter the event, even though they told me it would take up to 6 hours to actually get your negative COVID test results back, right? So I've gone, okay, great. So if I want to be in by 12, I need to get my COVID test at like 6, 7 in the morning. So I booked my COVID test for 7 in the morning, right? And within 20 minutes, I get the response back. Like, I did not need to be there that early whatsoever. And obviously it was negative anyway. I had to have a negative COVID test to travel into Germany as well at the time, I think anyway. Or at the very least, it was like good for me to have one that said I was negative. Anyway, so the weather's not too bad on the Sunday morning. I've just got my COVID test. It's like 7:38 in the morning. And I'm like, right, well, I'll go in and have a look around, see if I can, not like reserve my spot, but like go and find somewhere to be. And then once I got in, it got really windy and really cold, and it started to rain. But it wasn't like torrential rain. It was like that weird drizzle where like all of a sudden you're just completely drenched head to toe. So I'm like, I should probably go back out to the car so that I can grab my bigger coat, because for some reason I didn't grab my bigger coat. And when I go to leave, I'm told that I can't leave because there were ticket scalpers or something like that. I still don't fully believe exactly what happened, but I couldn't get out. So I only have like a smaller jacket on and like a hoodie. So I then have to go to one of the merch stands and I have to spend money. I think I bought like an umbrella and another jacket. And I think I spent like €100, like something like that, just to stay warm. And it literally rained the entire day. And I believe I was there, like I said, from like 8 in the morning all the way through to like when the Grand Prix was supposed to start at about 3 o'clock. So I saw like some of the F2 and F3 go round as well. And it was really weird when those F2 and F3 cars go around. I think it was F3 that came around first, but I was literally sat in the forest for like 2 hours shivering underneath this umbrella trying to stay warm. And then all of a sudden you just hear this like really, really loud noise come through the forest behind you. And it's the F3 cars. And just all of a sudden your heart warms up and you're like, oh, right, okay, it's go time. Like, let's get up and start enjoying some racing. The F2 and F3 were absolutely amazing. It was really, really good to watch those. And then obviously you then go back down to sitting, and then all of a sudden the driver parade come round. As for that, it's building. And then when the cars come around, and I'm like, right, brilliant, they've done their warm-up laps, and then, oh, it's been red flagged. Okay, it'll be like half an hour. Cool. All right, I'll go back to my little spot. I'll sit and I'll wait. and then another half an hour goes past, and then another half an hour goes past, and then they say, "Oh, we're gonna aim to do a rolling start or whatever it was at this specific time." And also, instead of trying to run the whole Grand Prix within this 3-hour window, we're going to throw that out the window because why not? And we're going to try and get like a full running session. And the fans were like, "Oh, brilliant! Like, hey, that's absolutely amazing."
We can wait for that.
It had already been like 2 hours of nothing, and then they came around again once, and they went straight back into the pit lane after I think I was there for like 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. And then Max got out of the car, and he had his photo taken with the Honda representative that they had in the garage that weekend, because it was some sort of strategic partnership with Honda, and they had like the 200th Grand Prix or something like that with their partnership or whatever it was. So they had a photo taken essentially. And as soon as I saw that, I knew that they 100% weren't going to go racing again. And it was just horrible because we didn't see a race at all, although technically we did. Nikita Mazepin had the fastest lap of the race, which is just hilarious no matter how you put it. So technically, it's quite funny that I was at the race where Nikita Mazepin had the fastest lap award, which then got taken away from him, by the way, because it wasn't a proper race. And then the obviously the aftermath was that we weren't going to get a refund, even though we didn't see a race, but we didn't. It was
they
just
said they'd done a certain amount of laps for
it was
half
just
points.
the most horrific weekend possible. Like, the organization was awful. It was cold. It was wet. It was just horrible. And then to not even get a refund was just horrific. There's no other way of putting it. And from that experience, I genuinely don't think I will ever go to Spa again, purely based on that experience. It has put me off for life. And I don't really blame the FIA or anything like that, because like it just wasn't safe to race, in all honesty. It just wasn't. It was really, really wet. Spa is very, very tricky when wet, and it's very dangerous, so I don't blame them whatsoever. But at the same time, give fans a refund, or at the very least, give them money off for next year's ticket. You know, like if they'd have said, right, look, we can't give you a refund, but here is, if you quote your original booking number when you book next year's tickets, we'll give you, even, honestly, if they'd have given 30% off, I would have considered it again. Like, that's all they had to do, was just 30% off. And they could have even bumped the ticket prices up another 10%, and people probably wouldn't have even noticed, you know? Yeah. So, but yeah. And then I had to drive all the way back up to Denmark, which is like a 10-hour drive, I think.
Soaking wet.
Soaking wet. Well, luckily, obviously, I have heated seats in my car, which is brilliant. And yeah, it was not a fun weekend, in all honesty. It just wasn't. So much better when we went to Austria the year after, and obviously when I went to Britain this year as well. They were much more enjoyable weekends, but I think that's enough of the PTSD for me, because it just wasn't fun whatsoever. So F1 organisers, if you're listening to this, boo you for not giving every one of those fans who really, really deserved a refund for sticking out in that weather, because that was completely ridiculous. So yeah,
were people leaving around you before it was officially
a couple
confirmed?
of people left, but as soon as I saw the photo in the garage, I was like, yeah, I 100% know that's it. Like, there's no way that they would take that photo and stuff like that, even like if they didn't know something that we didn't know. And then by the time I got to the car, which is about 40 minutes later, and was like warmed up, and I think I changed my jeans as well because they were wet into like tracksuit bottoms or whatever I had in the car. I think I literally switched on the car, and then I got a message on my phone saying the race was cancelled, or the race was over by that point, and that was it. So like I definitely left at the right time, because I also skipped out on a decent amount of traffic too, which is nice. But at the same time, like, my God, it's just utterly ridiculous. I'm glad I left when I did. Get me home. this is it just wasn't even fun. And like I said, I went for two things: to drive on the Nürburgring and to see the Formula One race, and I didn't do either of them. So not that year anyway. But yeah, so there we go. So hopefully we don't get as bad of a weekend this weekend, but who knows? The weather doesn't seem to be letting up, does it?
It does not. But yeah, hopefully we can get a race where it is wet and mixes it up, but they don't cancel the race or it becomes stupidly dangerous.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a safe and fun McLaren winning weekend.
Sorry you had to relive that again.
It's fine. I will do my best not to mention it too much for further forward now that I've fully explained the story. And to anyone else who was there in Belgium, I'm so sorry because that was not fun. We were in this together and it's not on you. It's not on me. I'm sorry. Also, if you'd have had a spare coat, I really could have used it. Jesus.
I felt for you as I was sat.
Yeah, because I was messaging you through the entire thing, and it was awful. It was.
I was like, I'll
awful.
try to give you updates if Martin Brundle and Crofty say anything, but
yeah, there was nothing.
There was nothing, unfortunately.
No.
So